Hey, it's the Scotch Test Dummies coming to you with Lagavulin Distillers edition. Lagavulin. And a general whiskey tasting that we ran.
Let's test it.
Test it! All right, well, let's just jump right into this. We can kind of talk about the whiskey tasting we ran later. This, I would like, well...
I was going to say that we're coming up on our 200th review.
Yes.
And it was, when did we do Lagavulin?
Was it February? Or was
What number was it? I'm looking. 168.
Oh.
That was our first Lagavulin.
We did like it.
Yes.
And what did we do?
Well,
and we took forever to get to it.
It's a fan favorite.
It is. It's already been a big hit.
Yes. So we said, let's get another. I'll take a little bit more than that. Let's get another Lagavulin.
Yeah. You did say that. He said literally, quote, let's get another Lagavulin.
Yes. And I'm not a big peat guy.
No, you're not.
I did like the Lagavulin.
You don't hate the peat.
There are a couple that, I would say I...
Really? That you hate the peat?
Yes.
Wow, that's new disclosure. I never heard you say you hate the peat.
Oh yeah,
I knew there was some
out before that I couldn't finish.
Put those in a little vessel. Save them for me. Right? Now I don't want you to like, and then give it anything left in the glass.
I can smell this. I can smell the peat on this.
Yeah.
Up here. I mean.
Oh yeah.
Just as I was talking.
Oh yeah.
But let's also talk about how we bought this Lagavulin.
That is special. We had sold a whole lot of our Scotch Test Dummies glasses. By the way, I think I have, what did I tell you, 12 left total out of the whole 100 run. So there's 12 left. They have the Scotch Test Dummies on one side and our actual Dummies logo on the other. We'll never do two runs the same. And we had some money, and you said, why don't we use the proceeds that we've earned?
Well, and we had back in January, we got our first $100 from YouTube.
First, yeah, woo!
And we hadn't spent it. It'd been sitting in the bank account.
Right, first $100. Took 2 years. 2 years
and 4 months. Well, we
were slower in the first
we didn't do the AdSense, the Google AdSense though for the first
yeah, we didn't
months.
even turn that on for a while because we knew we were learning and growing.
Yeah.
So, but still, 2 years, you got $100.
So anyway,
there's a lot of money to be made in vlogging, folks.
Well, and we finally got debit cards for our bank account.
True.
For our LLC.
We'll turn it into better business.
Yes.
Right.
So we were whiskey shopping, and
boom,
we said, let's buy our first bottles. We bought 2 bottles. The other one we'll talk about later with another review. But
little crown.
This.
I had to sneak it. You can't just hang it like that. They'd be like, what?
No,
later.
Hang it.
You got to tease it.
So anyway, the Lagavulin Distillers edition, we said, let's make that our first bottle purchased with proceeds from our show.
Bingo.
And
how's it taste?
Let's talk
how's
about
it nose? How's it nose? Sorry, that was good, but this should be our topic. Now, I've got a little bit of allergy going. I was out mowing, so I was a little nervous.
Too. I did some yard work today, and I've been a little bit plugged up.
I was a little nervous, but the nose is cleared up, but it might be a little sniffly.
I can tell you I get peat. That's a given.
Sure.
There's a rich sweetness in there. It's very full-bodied I have. Now, and I'll tell you, I haven't added water yet, but as I was tasting this, when I added my water brought out the sherry notes on the nose.
Water brought out a lot of stuff for me that I'll get to. I got neat on the nose. I got warm sea salt. I actually put warm sea salted smoke.
Yep, I get the sea salt.
And there's something else in there, almost like a lavender, that I hesitate. Because I'm not great on my lavenders and my little oil scents, but I don't know. Maybe a little cinnamon too.
This is 43% ABV.
Very good.
Also, the Distillers Edition is double cask matured.
Right.
It's also spent time in PX or Pedro Ximinez sherry cask.
I'm glad you said that. I stick with the PX because the Pedro Ximinez I always mess up. I want to say like
I think it starts with the X, but it's pronounced with the Z.
Kills me.
Pedro Ximinez.
Kills me every time. Now I'm going to come back. I got a ton more notes, just like you were saying, after I add water. But on the flavor.
It's pretty strong neat for 43%. It tastes a little bit stronger, 46 to 49%. There's a very rich sweetness. Neat. The peat is present, and it's very creamy as well.
Yeah, it's got a good mouthfeel on it. I put simply 2 words, peated oak. That's all I put under the neat. This Lagavulin really opens up for me with water. You're going to want, well, you do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
I will always want a little bit of water with this. I mean, some I like neat. This one really, really opens up with the water.
Yeah, I agree, and that's neat that me and you both noted that, because sometimes you do get different notes and sometimes you don't when you add water.
Yeah.
So that must be the case if that happened with both of us.
Right. That's one thing I love when we're both on here, because sometimes our palates are very different. But you know, when you mentioned that the water really did a lot to it, I agree 100%. What do you got on the nose with the water?
I think that, and what I've got in my notes, and I haven't tasted it again yet, but that sherry sweetness emerges, and on the taste, the sherry sweetness comes out, which I didn't get too much of. That might have been some of the sweetness, but I couldn't have told you it was sherry. And then a slight saltiness emerged with the water.
Oh, my notes are great. Now, we've had a commenter say it looks like I'm checking like my bookie scores. You got this great high-speed, cool laptop, and I'm like tweeting out. But I want to use the quote on this because I like what I wrote when I spent time with it. And I'm getting it here again. Water softens out the smoke and turns it a little fruity. And the smell, and this is weird, I get a little bit of the smell that I used to play a lot of racquetball, and when you open up and tear off the seal on that rubber double racquetball tube, I get a little bit of that. And I mean, I used to play a ton of racquetball, and it's like that new rubber smell that kind of sits down in there. What are you getting?
I gave you what I've got. I get the peat. I'm not getting too much besides peat and a sherry sweetness on the nose. I did get salt when you mentioned the salt water. But I mean, and on the taste, like I said, that sherry emerges with the water, a little bit of the saltiness. That peat, it's not a heavily peated. It's a medium peat. I think it's delicious.
It is. I think you hit it right on the head when you say a medium peat. There's no hiding that peat there. Like you said, you can get it on the nose as soon as you pour it. My flavor notes, I added oaked peated nuts. I get a nutty and oaky flavor in here with that smoked peat. But it's all real rounded. Soft. The aftertaste is lingering lightly now with a little bit of brown sugar kind of up along my gum line.
Brown sugar, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and it's the kind of brown sugar I used to way over brown sugar, the oatmeal at Grandpa's when I was a kid. And it was that kind of syrupy brown sugar I would get there that's clinging around. And I think that's one of the things that makes it real pleasant for me. I usually don't like the heavy oak or the woody flavors as much, but they're not super strong here. Pause. All right, sorry. Air condition turned on. Did not think it would turn on this late at night. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it does not indicate if this is non-chill filtered, and it also does not indicate if it's natural color. My thoughts would be Lagavulin has been known to add colorant. It doesn't affect my score or my tasting of this whiskey. I find it delicious. What do you think?
I'm with you. I mean, I'd still like to see it put on there if it's on there.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm with you. If I don't see non-chill filtered or no colorant or whatever, I assume it is chill filtered, and it is with color additive.
Yep.
Additive.
Additive.
I was looking for additive. Additive was perfect. So the tasting.
We ran our first tasting for
Yeah.
workmates, basically,
Right, guys at the office. The office guys.
and the satellite offices.
True. Yeah. The satellite.
And it was
offices.
really, we've got quite a few people at work watching us, of course. And still, I think there's quite a few people at work that don't know we're doing this. And so when we put it out that we'd have a whiskey tasting, we had a lot of interest.
Yeah.
And some people that knew us, some people that are whiskey drinkers, and some people that didn't
Yeah.
have any idea.
Yeah, we had a couple guys, young guys, that were like, "Hey, I'm here to learn." We're like, "Cool.
What-
Want some more?" I was running low. As long
So
as we're
anyway,
going into story time.
What we decided to do, though, was just do kind of a basic, kind of an intro to whiskeys.
Yeah, like around
Not
the
just
world.
not just Scotch and not just peated whiskeys or anything like that. But we did. We had we started with Crown Royal,
NHR, baby.
Northern Harvest Rye.
That's right.
We moved to a bourbon,
Right.
Woodford Reserve,
Good standby.
and we went to then Glenmorangie 10
Perfect.
to move them into Scotch,
Perfect entry with the 10-year Glenmorangie.
and then Macallan 12 for a sherried Scotch,
Love that. Nice and
and
fruity.
ended with Compass Box Peat Monster.
Boom, the one that brought me fully into the smoke. The one that made Bruno, the master taster that he is, calls me up and says, "You've got to try this blended." And we're still dummies, and I'm like, blended? I don't know if I was down on the blended, but I was like, a blended? And you're like, it's phenomenal. And I was like, really? And then I got over there and I was all judgmental. Love it, love it, love it. All right.
We did good though. We had 15 people, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
too
We
many.
were supposed to have 23.
Went well.
Yeah, next time we're selling tickets, and they've got to be bought beforehand, and the price goes up if you just decide to come that day. Because we had several say they were going to be there and then not. We had real heavy barbecue brought in. We know a buddy that owns his own barbecue thing. Had him come in and cater it. I scored it 91.
91.
Hello. Look at this, just for verification.
Yep.
Boom. Not just copying you. Why'd you put the 91 on? That's
I
high
like
for
it.
you.
I would have a bottle of this at home.
Yeah.
Peaty, sherry, medium peat,
Yes.
sweet.
Now I'm going to say,
Delicious.
as a peat lover, boy, have I gone over the top of my peat. I want to be punched in the face. I want an uppercut coming in. Okay, the cast strength of Freud, the Ardbeg 10. I still like this. I didn't score it as high as those other two because when I go peat, baby, I'm going all the way. I'm going all the way peat. I want that punch in the face with the peat. But I love the peat all the way around. Definitely in the wheelhouse. I want a whole peat range, and I can easily, this will be on my shelf. Easily. I'm glad you want to leave it here.
Sure.
No, you don't have to. Yeah, better to leave this with you. You'll go to it when you want that occasional peat feeling. I could see me going to this a little bit sooner because of my peat. So, is it worth it? Is it worth it? What do you think?
$90 here.
Yeah, $90.
Yes.
So it's on the expensive side. I'm going to say yeah. Yeah, this is 90's up there, but you want a little complexity. I'm not a big oak fan, but I like the oak in here. It's not overly powered. The peat is medium. It's in there. It's,
But I think you're going to confuse some people. You keep bringing up the wood and how much there is. I mean, there's a hint of oak. I don't think there's any more than others.
I get a little bit more. We got different palates. I don't want to confuse anybody. You can listen to him. There's a hint of oak. I say it's a strong oaky, nutty flavor with the peat. That's where I come in and get that. So that's just me, but definitely worth it, even at $90. I would be a little conservative as I drink it. I mean, I wouldn't just be putting this down like a $19, $20 NHR. But it's worth it.
Yes,
Excellent.
I agree.
Excellent. Hey, we had a couple things I forgot. I should have brought this up when we got it because of, I shouldn't even reference it. I can't remember, the whiskey classified is where I always look up before we go because they give us the Gaelic on what Lagavulin means. And it means the hollow where the mill is. And that is on our cheat board.
Could be a cotton mill.
The hollow where the mill is what Lagavulin means. Now, we had a Patreon. If you want, you can go support us on Patreon. You can give us $1 per episode, or as little or as much as you want. We've got a few little tiers where we try to involve the people that are donors on Patreon just to bring them into the show, make them part of the show, wrap them up, give them a big hug.
Yeah, a little recognition, a little thank you.
And one of them is a $2 an episode. We will shout your name, like scream it.
Yes.
But we were asked what?
Not to.
Right. We were asked, don't do that. Please don't yell it.
Yes, he did not want to shout out.
Did not want to shout out. Kind of even said, you don't really even need to mention it. I suppose you could, but
just, it's business of my heart.
So how do we want to deal with
you
that?
guys, you guys are good looking and
we're hot.
funny.
Yeah,
and
kind of your
you bring light into my life type stuff.
A little bit of almost like a song lyric.
Yeah.
That was in there.
Light up my life.
Yeah, it was like
not really. We're making some of that.
Yeah, we make a lot of it up. It's all, but this is how we bring you the show. So how should we say this person?
We're just gonna.
What do you think?
I think he gets whisper. Lewis Wells.
Lewis Wells.
Thank you, Lewis. No shout out.
What was it? What's his name?
Lewis Wells.
It's Wells. Is the last one with Lewis.
Lewis.
We're not even sure.
Thank you.
You might not even be able to hear this. So thank you, sir. All right.
Lewis also had a complaint, though, about one of our videos.
He did. He said we misrepresented the Lagavulin cast.
No. I can't believe you got that wrong.
How? What did I say?
Lafroy.
Oh, my God. It's because we got the Lagavulin in front of us. You're right. He said Lafroy.
He had a complaint about the Lafroy cask strength.
Lafroy cask strength, 10-year. My personal favorite at this period of time.
He said we misrepresented it.
Yeah, misrepresented it. That
it's disappearing off of his shelf just faster
than any other
whiskey.
Yeah, just flies off the shelf, disappears off the shelf. Yes, sir, we misrepresented. He actually said he went and got it just because of I was so over the top.
Oh yeah.
He thought, let's try it.
Yeah.
He was a little nervous. A little nervous, got it, boom, disappears off the shelf.
Complaint going faster than any other whiskey.
Complaint department. Thanks, Lewis. All right.
Cilantro. Dummies. Oh, wait, you got to go first.
Yeah, that threw me. Hey, we're a little out of sync.
Yep.
Usually, I'm yelling, Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
Cilantro. Dummies.